Hi everyone, it's Kahreal and welcome to ARTchives. Yay! I actually feel really productive. I made breakfast and lunch. I cooked eggs. I made fried rice. I added like eggs and stuff, meatloaf. That's it. I don't usually cook, but when I do, it always tastes amazing. So that is that. So yeah, welcome to the first episode of this series that I tried to come up with for a very long time now. And what I mean by a very long time, I mean a week ago, because I was scrolling through my Instagram and I found my highlights named ARTchives, and I thought of it now as like a really cute idea for like a series on YouTube. I don't know where I got it from. I made that highlight when I was in high school because I always participated in Inktober because I love the YouTuber Emery Chu. I hope you guys know her too because she's amazing and you guys should check her out. I also watch Ditus, their channel called Spilled Ink, and they just do a lot of art stuff together, and I kind of want to do that too. So let me explain why I am making this series. Last summer, I actually tried to revive my art kid kind of like lifestyle since I was really neglecting it during senior high school because I thought it would serve me no purpose for the rest of my life because I am entering a medical field, something that I didn't really want to when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I grew up really falling in love with art. I would always draw, I would always try to do something with art. That didn't really happen for my future. So, you know, as a kid, I always kind of planned to be an animator. I would tell people that I'm going to work at Disney, but, you know, it didn't happen. God had a different path for me. God had a different plan, and I don't want that thing that really pushed me through during elementary up to high school to be lost just because I didn't go into an art field. I didn't go into an art school that I was planning to since I was in elementary. So this is why I'm making this series, because I kind of like failed last summer because I was still adjusting with college. I didn't really make time for it, and if I did had time, I would rather bed rot the whole day than do anything productive like art and stuff. So basically I neglected it all throughout those times. But on the brighter side, I have to, you know, share this, not to be braggy or anything, but I successfully passed all my first year subjects for pharmacy, and I can actually successfully proceed into second year, which is like in a few weeks. That's why I really want to start this series, because I don't want the thing that happened last year be the same again for this year. So here we have it. This is the first episode. Welcome everyone. Welcome to everyone who's watching this and who's planning to stick on with this journey. What are my goals for this? Just really document my progress all throughout the way, because what better way to, you know, to be progressive than force myself to have a series on YouTube that people may or may not watch, and I may or may not be pressured. But no, I'm kidding. Jokes aside, I'm not gonna have a scheduled upload with this series. This is going to be just a little thing that I can come back home to after a long day of schoolwork, after being burnt out from academics and stuff. It's really, really hot. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. So yeah, I would explain myself as someone who has an academic achiever side and also a little creative side to her. So I don't want to lose this side while I'm like busy focusing on this side. So I kind of want to keep a balance with it somehow. That's why here we have it. This is what I came up with, so I can also share my progress with you guys, because I remember last year, I made a TikTok stating about like burnt out art kid that's not doing well now and like something, and then a lot of people commented all their journeys, or it was so sweet. Also, on that video from last summer, a lot of you guys also commented a bunch of your experiences, people you know of, and a lot of encouraging words, a lot of advices, and it made me realize that a lot of people are also going through the same thing. A lot of art kid that didn't go into art school, a lot of art kid whose passion and life is being an artist that kind of stopped because that's not what life planned for them. I want this video to serve as like an inspiration for people to also be the kind of person that was for me, that people were to me. I think that's the right wording. I'm not sure, but I want to also be the kind of person that would give inspiration or hope for that person. So yeah. So why art? Let's begin with the questions. Like, why are you yapping about art? Why are you so sentimental with art? Why do you value art so much? Why? First episode, that's why we're gonna talk about why art. Before doing any art at all, I want to get close. I want to reflect. I want to use this episode as a time to serve as a purpose for me to look back to along the ways, because I know eventually that I will be burnt out. Like, I can see it clearly. There's gonna be a time and somewhere in the future that I would be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be an artist. I don't want to, you know, I'm failing everything. So dear viewer, come and join me for this journey. You can also answer some of the questions that I prepared. Let's get started with the questions. First question. When did you fall in love with art? I fell in love with art as a kid. Let me explain. As a kid, I have this medical condition called asthma. I got it from my mom. She's also asthmatic. What is asthma, if you guys didn't know? Asthma is a chronic lung disease affecting people of all ages. It causes by inflammation and muscle tightening around the airways, which makes it harder to breathe. So I had that as a kid. It was one of the things that made me feel most left out with. As kids, we like to run around. Most people would run around places, play at the playground, do all kinds of kid stuff, all kinds of active stuff, and I couldn't do that because I would wheeze the whole day. I would have a hard time breathing, and I couldn't participate in sports and a lot of things that kids wanted to do. I couldn't do it, and it made me someone who would always sit at the corner. I would always just be by myself, sitting and just watching all the kids enjoy their playtime, and I would just be there. I wasn't allowed to do all those kinds of things, because if I did, it would definitely lead to me going to the hospital, getting treatment. So I would just spend time at school. I remember when I was in nursery, that's the time where, you have classmates, you can play around with people, you have like a bunch of playmates, and I would be stuck in the canteen breathing my medicine, having my medicine up in my mouth and my nose, and my mom would just be there and be like, stop running. I'm like, but I'm a kid, I want to run, but I can't. I couldn't, because when I start running, I would start sweating and it would trigger my asthma. I would have a hard time breathing. That's why my mom introduced me to art. She gave me pens and papers, and she was like, there, try to doodle, try to, enjoy your time here, sitting and not doing anything as active as the kids would do. And so I did. Every time the kids would run around, I would be at my little desk area and I would draw. I remember the first time that my mom handed me out paper. It was yellow paper, basically lined paper, but it's yellow. Oh my gosh, excuse the background noise. They're working again. There is currently ongoing road construction outside of our house. I cannot control the construction workers' noise, but it's not it's not their fault. They're paid to do it. And so my mom gave me pens and paper. I remember the first time I actually doodled. It was just a bunch of circles. And then I discovered the letter Y. This is a really weird fact, but I found through that small little accident. It was a happy accident for like 4-year-old me, 3-year-old me. That you can do a lot more with pens and paper. And you just need to discover a lot of things. And so I did. I started with small circles until it became stick women and men, until it became a house, until I could customize my little characters. And I would just imagine a world, an alternative world where I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do because of my medical condition as a kid. Nowadays, it's not really as bad as it was as a kid. But that was my experience with asthma and how it introduced me to art. So there you have it. Next question. What is art to you? Art to me now is something that I can express my creativity with, express the things that I like, especially with animation. Most of my artwork nowadays are reflections / copies from animations that I like, art styles that I enjoy drawing, especially my recent artworks, which are fan arts for the series in Netflix called Arcane. And yeah, I really like the art style. That's more of what art to me is now. It's a way of expressing my enjoyment, my appreciation for this movie / series. But back then as a kid, it served as a purpose for me to escape reality. Again, I grew up being asthmatic and I couldn't really do a lot of things growing up. That's why art helped me escape those things that I couldn't do. It helped me go beyond my imagination, go beyond reality, helped me introduce the things that I didn't know. And yeah, it served as a comfort, something that I can enjoy by myself and something that made me happy. So art to me plays a role in helping me express myself in ways words can't. So that's it. I think that's my answer. Next question. Third question. Does art always have to be beautiful? Okay. Growing up, I always am very inspired with animation, with art. So I grew up watching Barbie movies, I grew up watching Disney movies, Cartoon Network, a bunch of animation, bunch of series, shows as a kid. What else? Disney, Sony Animation, Pixar, all those movies. I thought that's the standards. I thought art had to be that type of genre. I thought art is like something that you can escape reality from, but you can also paint reality with art. So when I was in high school, you get to learn about different kinds of paintings, the lessons behind it, like Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. What else? Like Michelangelo, his depiction of a lot of biblical events, a lot of what else? Frida Kahlo, how she views herself with her self-portraits, how she views her mind, how she puts symbol what do you call this? Symbols? How she kind of like, yeah, definitely perspectives, how she views herself in her creative mind. What else? Who else? But there's a lot of things you can do with art, and it doesn't always have to be that mainstream type of, oh my gosh, what I'm saying is art doesn't have to be the kind of mainstream thing that people probably would prefer. There's always beauty in chaos. I feel like art always will be beautiful because it's made with intention, it's made with a purpose. You can say that your art from the beginning is like really trash, but the thing is, the beauty is really beyond that. It's the fact that it's put to, my gosh, I can't speak. The fact that it's being put with thought. It's like being created with thought. I feel like that's why art is always beautiful. Even if it's visually you can say that it's trash. I feel like it's the process, the reason to it. It's what makes it beautiful. Did I answer that question? I don't know. Does art always have to be beautiful? It does not always have to be beautiful. What does beauty even mean? Let me answer this question. No. I take it back. Let me question this question. That's what I'm trying to say. Does always have to be beautiful? Question yourself. What is beauty? What makes something beautiful? Does it have to be visually striking? Does it have to be visually appealing? Or does it just have to be a story behind it? That's what makes it beautiful. So, dear viewers, please comment down below. Next is, let's go to the more like technical side of art with the next question. I don't know what number this question is. I think it's the 4th or the 5th. I'm not sure. Next question. Oh my gosh. How you deal with art block? Ladies and gentlemen, I would have to truthfully answer. I don't deal with art block. There would be months where there would be months that I wouldn't touch a single pen. I wouldn't touch a single sketchbook of mine that I recently bought. I don't deal with art block. I just let it happen, and I think that's the problem. I could feel the art blockness from the moment that I touch a pen and paper and I just can't draw anything. I'm like, head empty, no thoughts at all. And that's when I know I actually have art block. I cannot think of things on how I would do it in art. I feel like it's like a sort of thing that artists go through where they're just there. They just can't feel the artness in them. Like the essence is like gone or something. Like, I think all artists know that it doesn't have to be beautiful, but again, like visually striking, you just have to get through it. But most of the time I just kind of like blank out, like literally art block, blanking out, like not, I just don't, I feel like it's something connected with reality. Definitely depends. I feel like I need to do something else in order for me to kind of like deal with art block. So I guess how I deal with art block, in short answer, is I don't deal with it. I deal with other things. Like, I just let it be. I kind of like take breaks and do other stuff, you know, explore other hobbies like dancing or like singing or like doing school stuff, even though it's like but yeah, over time I kind of like have this feeling of missing what I used to do, like draw, and I would really notice a really huge improvement even if I take long hiatuses. Like, I would feel really bad because I went through a hiatus, but when I do decide to feel like I can create an artwork today from an art block, it always end up so beautiful, like beautifully, rather than me forcing myself to get through over this art block. But I don't know, it really depends on the person. I don't think it's something that's like it has a formula to like remove art block. I think it really depends with all of us how we deal with it, but that's how I deal with it. That's how I deal with art block. How I deal with art block is I don't deal with it. I dabble upon other things, then come back to art whenever I feel like I can do it again. Like I something along those lines. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good answer, but anyways, next question. What inspires you for creating art? Things that I watch, things that I do, things that I'm reflecting upon. It could be other people, other artworks. Definitely, most of the time, other artworks. Artists really inspires other artists like no one else could. Like, I don't know. It's just something about, like, for example, that Spider-Man movie, that was like, whoa, that kind of like, I feel like that fueled a lot of artists' motivation and inspiration. But it really depends what inspires me for creating art. It could be my emotion, what I'm feeling nowadays, what I'm going through. It depends. Depends what's happening with my life, in my inner soul, in my inner mind, and my environment. That's what inspires me to create art. Why should people, oh my gosh, next question. Why should people care about art? Because it's all around us. Art is cultural. Art is what makes us have our own identity. Like, we all have art inside of us that's really unique to us, and I feel like those are kind of like one of the things that no one can really truly copy or like knock off. Is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, there's like this thing in like the internet that, you know, with the whole AI thing happening. Oh my gosh, let me address that in this video. AI, you could just see the lifelessness. Lifelessness, is that a word? But it's just so soulless. It's so empty. Like, it's looking at AI art, you can feel the void of it. But if you look at the human person, like a human person's art, you could just feel it. You could just feel a piece of them with that art. Whether it may be a fan art, you could just feel that they did that fan art because that person that they were, like, you know, they were inspired of really impacted their life in a good way. That's why they made this art, to, you know, show appreciation. It has meaning to it. Why should people care about art? It's because it creates meaning, it creates identity, it creates culture, it creates a lot of things, even awareness, reflection. It creates feelings. It basically creates life. It gives life its essence. I think that's why. That's why people should care about real art, not AI art. No. So next question. What does art do to society? So it's kind of like connected with like the previous question. And the shortest word that I can describe on what art does to society is it creates an impact. It creates memories. It creates shared experiences with each other. Not only that, it also expresses people's emotions, people's feelings, and people's perspectives in life, people's standpoint in political views, people's way of expressing on how to address an issue in society. A lot of things. It inspires people. It saddens people. It makes people happy. It really creates an impact. It creates a message. It creates a meaning. I think that's what art does to society, and that's why it's really important that people should care about art. I think that's my take with what art does to society, and also because of design, like in practical wording. This is art, that is art, this is art. That plushie was probably drawn by someone. Pokemon, that monkey was designed by someone. It creates life as it is. Like, it creates life all around us that we don't even notice, that we don't even, you know, take credit for. Like, it's not, how do you word that out? Like, we don't appreciate it enough. Even like the sceneries, it's art. God makes art. God created this earth with art, with the various art forms, by the clouds, through the sunsets, through the trees, through the mountains, through the oceans. And we should really value in that. Like, art isn't just drawing and stuff. It also expresses the world that goes around us, our environment. There's a lot of art in our nature that we don't appreciate enough, because, you know why? We keep destroying it. That's why people should care about art. That's my answer, period. Well, okay, next question. When does art feel the most necessary in your life? I feel like I'm gonna answer this truthfully. Whenever I feel an emotion so intense that I cannot put into words, whether it may be not happiness, I would create like a small happy face, or like a very like enjoyment, or like something like that. From watching a movie, I get inspired, and that's why I kind of like spill out my creativity in fan art. What else? By emotions. Whenever I have problems in life, like for example, family problems, other problems in life, whether it may be a self problem is not even a term, but you know, just problems within me that I need to address off, I kind of express it through art. And yeah, you can also see my fan art over there. Oh my gosh, this is the first time I'm gonna address this. Yes, that is Queen Charlotte and King George. I really like the series of that. If you didn't know, it's on Netflix. It's called Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story, and it's really beautiful. I really love the speeches, the like declaration they had for each other, and I think that's really beautiful. Also like the gowns, the wigs, it's so beautiful. I love how they made it in a way wherein it's really pleasant to watch. I don't know, I can't explain it, but okay, oh my gosh, and short answer, I keep having essay types of answers, but art feels the most necessary in my life whenever I have a really big emotion that I can't put into words. I already answered that in the first part, but that's how I see it. Next question. Has art ever helped you survive something? Yes. When I was in high school, I was 13 years old. I wasn't even in high school. That was my first year of high school. Me and my family went through a lot of things, a lot of problems, a lot of hardships. And it's an understatement because we really went through a lot, and I mean a lot, to the point of zero, even negative. We had a lot of financial problems, a bunch of those things, and it made me go back into elementary, wherein I would always feel left out because of things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't because of something that's holding me back, chaining me down. And it was that I had a lot of family problems, and I wanted to do a lot of things. I was in grade 7, I was getting into Hamilton. I had a dream. I went to a school. Oh my gosh. Okay, to further explain how I would say that I've been planning my like as a kid I wanted to be an animator, it's because when I was 13, I don't know, I was 12 years old, I think, but I was in 6th grade. Okay, basically I was in grade 6. I begged my mom to enroll me in this really prestigious school. I was connected to an art school here in the Philippines. So my mom supported that decision, and I went, and I actually got into that school. And I always kind of like thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, I'm gonna be an animator someday. I'm gonna work for Disney. That is my goal. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen, obviously. I'm already in my 2nd year of college in pharmacy. But yeah, we went through a bunch of things when I was 13 years old that we had to start over with life again. And the thing that was with me was art. I remember we lost our house. Okay, that's how intense it was. We lost our house, we lost our savings, we lost a lot of things, a lot of family problems that I don't really want to talk about it now, but probably gonna do it in the future someday. But yeah, I remember what got me throughout those days was drawing like a future that I would want to achieve someday, like a goal in mind. I remember I would draw a house. I remember drawing clothes that I wanted to wear, drawing a lot of things that I wanted to do, and a lot of other places that I wanted to go to. And yeah, it really made me hopeful, made me create an alternative universe that hopefully one day I can go into. So it created a sense of encouragement, or like for hope that someday, somewhere in the future, I can also experience the things that my drawings are experiencing. So that's that. Next part. What part of yourself do you only access through art? What does that even mean? What part of yourself do you only access through art? My soul. I feel like, yeah, I think that's the only right question. It accesses my emotions, things that I don't even understand, things that I'm going through currently that I can't really understand unless I put it down with like all the things that I'm expressing for. May it be through poetry, like feeling a lot of things and just lashing it out with poetry, and I don't actually realize what I'm feeling, and I only get to realize it when I already see the pieces that I've done. Like artworks, I would draw like really sad images that I didn't even realize was sad until like a week later, when I view my art again and be like, oh gosh, I was just sad during those times. Whenever I have like crushes or stuff, I remember I would just constantly think about them, so I would draw them and do like a little poetry about them. And now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, so I was just crushing over someone, I was admiring someone. So that was the things that I was going through that I didn't notice until I actually express it out loud for myself to also hear, not only for other people. So that is that. Next question. Do you make art to express something or to discover it? To express something and to discover something, I think. Yeah, so by expressing my emotions, I can discover what specific emotion I was actually expressing. Period. Next thing. What scares you about your own creativity? I don't really know. Am I scared of my creativity? I'm probably scared with the fact that I can't achieve the creativeness that I want to be. But I don't know, I don't feel like I'm scared for that. I feel like I value so much, I already value failures, that I don't even mind if I constantly fail something. But I feel like it's like I created this piece within me that failures are fine, failures are okay. They are those things that help you realize what you can improve, what you can scrap out and things. And yeah, I'm not really scared of my creativity, I guess. But you guys, I don't know if you guys have a better answer for that, or like an experience relating to that. So I don't really have an experience relating to being scared of my creativity. Next question. When was the last time art broke your heart or healed it? I don't really have a specific art that broke my heart. Probably my old artworks. Looking back, when I was like 13, I would draw a lot of, yeah, we're not even gonna talk about that. Or healed it. I don't know, I feel like the thing that's in my mind right now is like, whenever I admire people's artworks, whenever I see a really impactful artwork, like for example this painting, I don't know what you call it, but this is an old painting. It's like a really, really popular painting. You may or may not know it, but it's the girl in a wedding dress who's getting married to this old guy, and there's like a whole bunch of meaning to it, and it addresses basically a society issue that's forcing young girls to be married off into like really old wealthy men. And it broke my heart because that's reality. That's what they're currently experiencing. And girls, women don't deserve to go through those things just because it's, you know, it's a patriarchal rule. How do we explain this? It's like forcing someone to go through things that they don't want to do. There's a better wording for it, but I can't find it as of right now. But yeah, basically it breaks my heart to see that it's so unfair that people get to experience life without hindrances, while others are currently fighting for just the bare minimum of it. And how about healing it? I think when you think about it, at least one painter, there's a painter before that realized that it's an issue. So it's like kind of like an example. It's like how would you word it in more general term? People in a sad term, people are making art with society issues. So that's the sad part about it. People have reasons to create those artworks based off society issues because it's there, it's currently happening, it's reality. But I think the healing part about it is someone is actually brave enough to address those things. There's still, you know, even if the painting is depicting the sad reality, there is the painter behind that painting who views it as something to like spread awareness for. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think that's the kind of wording that I'm looking for. There's probably better wording, so you guys can comment down below your perspectives of these questions. Next question. We're getting to like the last parts of it, so you guys can finally turn off this video. Okay, next part. What role does failure play in your life? Oh my gosh, growing up, I don't like failure at all. Especially my academic side. She's like, although I would intentionally get like points off from my, oh my gosh. Let me explain. As a kid, my mom would always tell me that I would always intentionally get points off from my quizzes. I would intentionally make some answers wrong, which I also can remember because I had this feeling of being scared of being perfect as a kid. That's why my mom would joke around nowadays that I would purposely take my scores off from quizzes. I would intentionally mistake. It's not even a mistake because it's intentional. I don't know. I didn't like having perfect scores as a kid during elementary. I didn't like the competitiveness of academic life or like the academic world. I don't like having to compete for like the first place, second place, whatever place there are. I just kind of like doesn't really give me the fuel that I need for my soul. Unlike art, which is really like fuels me. You know what I mean? It's the food that I really need rather than the academic pressures. So again, failures in life. What does it play in my life? It makes me realize that you can learn from it. You know, you can learn from failures. That was most people probably would advise, and that is honestly just the perfect kind of perspectives about failure. Failure leads to success over time, but you need to reflect upon it. You just don't, you don't repeat all the mistakes and the failures you've made. You also have to take a step back, take a breather, see why it's failing, identify it. You just don't go into things blindly. That's what I mean. Like, people would tend to complain that they keep on failing, and they would still do the things that makes them failing. I can word that better. Let me start again. People tend to complain a lot about failing, but they don't do anything to change the outcomes of being a failure. Okay, that was too deep. But that's tea. I'm also like that. I'm guilty, okay? I'm also like that sometimes. But it's because sometimes you need to, sometimes taking a step back isn't even enough. You really need your support system. Taking a step back isn't actually even enough. You also need your support systems, people who tell you honest truths about you. It doesn't even have to apply with being an artist, with failing as an artist. It's just life overall. Sometimes you need to take a step back, and sometimes those step backs aren't enough. That's why you need a really good support systems that would tell you honest truths on what they think, and the emphasis on good support systems, because sometimes those support systems aren't the support systems that you need. Okay, let's be honest here, let's be real. That's reality. Yes, and I'm very very thankful that I have really really good support systems around me. So to my family and to my friends, you guys are real ones. What is that accent? I don't know. Okay, next question. Oh my gosh, was that a fly? Something just flew over me. Anyways, next question. I'm yapping again. What do you want? Oh my gosh. Okay, last two questions, you guys. What do you want your work to leave behind? So again, I'm starting this series for me to look back to, and to also share my experience and journey to all of you guys, since I know a lot of you guys are also going through a lot of these things, because some people commented their experiences. That's why I know there are people out there. So I hope this reaches the right people, the right audience, and the people that need it too. You know what I mean? So what do I want to leave behind during these episodes that I'm trying to make? I want to leave an impact there. I want to leave a good impact with people. I want people to remember me as someone who was there for them. I want people to remember me as somebody to someone that made them inspired. I don't know. But let me explain. As a kid, I would watch a lot of YouTubers, a lot of animators. Oh my gosh, let me share my fangirling experiences with you guys. The first ever animator that I knew of was, honestly, I think it was either Jaden Animations or Domix. It was either of them. And then I discovered the Odds One Out / James, and my favorite, Emerichu, and then Ditus, and I think other more. Cypher then, I guess. What else? I like animatics and stuff. Those things, they just inspire me. Oh my gosh. And they made me the person that I am today. And they don't even know me. But, looking back, it's so, I don't know. I want to be in a position wherein someone out there can also be like, oh, I watch her videos and I really feel inspired by it. I don't know. It's so cheesy to even think about. But somewhere along those lines, I want people to, I want people to experience things. I don't know. But definitely, I want to leave an impact, a good one, not a bad one. There's different kinds of impacts, but I want the inspirational, the motivational, the good impacts that shape a person's perspective in life in a way wherein they view life as more beautiful rather than something that's like a burden. Something like that, somewhere along those lines of wording. But yeah, something along those lines, I don't know. I don't know, okay? Please don't pressure me. I'm the one who's pressuring myself to answer all these questions. So, Anyways, next question. How about you guys? What do you want to leave behind with your artworks? Comment down below, please. I would really love to read all of you guys' comments and everything. But next question. What are your goals as an artist? In technical terms, that is the last question. Oh my gosh, let's make the last question feel extra special. Extra special. Oh my gosh, what was the question? I forgot. Okay, last question for this video. What are your goals as an artist? As a kid, I really love watching animation, watching movies, watching series, animations, and other stuff. I love listening to songs. Songs are also a form of art. I love admiring paintings. Oh my gosh, I didn't even mention the fact that I would annually visit museums with my mom during elementary. So I probably have visited a lot of museums. More than 20? More than 30? Less than 30 probably. But we, growing up at my school during elementary, we always had a field trip wherein we'd visit all kinds of, educational museums, historical things, a lot of artworks and stuff, like a lot of things like history and a lot of things, history, political art, historical art, meaningful art, just art, simple art, lifestyle art, rural places. I remember one of the museums that left behind an impact until this day was, I think it was in Manila. It was the I think it was the GSIS Museum. I think it's called the Museo ng Sining, I think. I'm not sure. You guys should fact check that. I should fact check that actually. But I saw different kinds of artworks from Filipinos. And they were so beautiful. They were so unique from each other. They all had their different takes on how to make this art. Like they had different perspectives on how to make this art style. Like for example, Fernando Amorsolo, he's the first national artist, right, in the Philippines. He painted the rural lifestyles of Filipinos. And it's so beautiful. Like, whoa, that's how he sees the rural life of the Philippines. And I think it really speaks what, is being experienced at that time. What else? Juan Luna, girl, his spoliarium, I think that's how you pronounce it, spoliarium painting is so huge. I think I've never seen it in real life, but yeah, I think there are definitely other artists that I am so sorry I don't know the names of, but visiting museums every day, not every day, oh my gosh, annually, so every single year there's always a different museum to be visited. When I was elementary, I didn't even mention it, oh my gosh. But they create impacts, they create stories, they create meaning, they create time capsules, they preserve something, they preserve an experience, a feeling, a memory, they preserve a life, they preserve a part of life that they've experienced, that they went through. It doesn't even have to be them. They preserve like the feeling that they got from that sort of experience that they didn't experience themselves. Like what example would it be? Like movies, they let you, like, biographical, is that how you word it, like biography movies based in real life movies, you kind of like preserve the experience that they went through and the beauty on those experiences. I don't know. Basically, I also want to be those kinds of artists that creates impacts on people's lives. Those, because impacts are one of those things that leave a trace in your life, and I want to be able to leave a trace of a part of me, a part of my being, my existence. Even if you don't know my name, it still manifests in people's lives in a good way. You know what I mean? Somewhere along those lines. I think you guys have a better answer with that. But yeah, that is all the sum for this video. This video serves as a thing that why would you want to enter this journey type of video. I kind of don't want to start the video with like draw with me, and you don't even know why I want to draw with you guys. Oh my gosh, get to know me. What kind of like medium have I used throughout my art journey? This is the last question, okay? Get to know me as an artist, like an artist. I like to draw traditionally. I have created digital artworks, but I don't think it's like my forte at the moment. I definitely have a forte. That's not how you word that word, but okay. My forte is traditional art. I love to sketch. I love to ink stuff. That's why I really love Inktober, because that's like the month where I get to show off my skills. Not to brag, but I am bragging. What else? Painting. That is the only painting that I've ever finished, and like a really good one. I have finished a bunch of other paintings, but that's not like painting. It's like more of like painting for the experience and like the beginning of it, you know what I mean? This was a project actually for school. I procrastinated while making this, so it probably could have been better if I didn't procrastinate it. I did this painting 2 days before the deadline, and I didn't sleep at all. That was an exaggeration. I actually slept for like an average of like 5 hours. My cousins actually helped with that painting. They didn't help painting it. They helped make the little flowers around the corner. So that's that. What else? Art. Acting. I did kind of like I have experience with acting. Not really like, you know, professional acting, but in like role play in school acting, especially like performance tasks in school. What else? Theater. I don't have experiences with theater. Musicals, not really, but I do like to listen to musicals, you know what I mean? What other mediums have I used? Face painting. I've tried face painting just recently, actually. I don't know what month it was, but I think it was this year. I tried face painting for the first time this year because it was really unexpected, but there we have it. I experienced face painting for the first time this year because I was for school, student council things. What else? Oh my gosh, I was planning to do an origami episode, so better watch out. Sure. What else? Sewing. Oh my gosh, I actually have an achievement for sewing because I got homemaker of the year when I was in grade 6. So that's tea. I can actually sew. Not as good, not as great, because I haven't practiced since I was like in elementary school, but I did get an award for it, you know what I mean? Fashion wise, like the art of fashion, I don't really have. I think I can have a good style with me, but since I don't have that, but still, fashion could be a really short range of pieces to pick from, and you can still make it fashionable. It's just me. I think the problem is me. Definitely me. Next, I think there's other art forms. How about culinary arts? I do love cooking, but I think it's like something to be more explored with. I'm not quite there yet, but it's beginning. Oh my gosh, editing. I love editing. I like photography. I like videography. I think you can tell. What else? What other? Singing. I do have a love for singing. I like singing when I was a kid because it's also one of those hobbies that you can do without like running around. What else? I like dancing. Definitely, I like dancing. I liked it when I was a kid. It never really got developed into like something professional since, again, I'm asthmatic. Nowadays, I can run, I can do stuff. It was just me as a kid that didn't know how to manage with that kind of condition. Seasonal allergies, and I wasn't, as a kid, are you really responsible for the things around you, like dust? What else, like weather and stuff, pollens? I didn't really care about those things. I didn't even know the triggers. But now that I do know those things, those triggers and stuff, I manage myself more. Okay? Period. I think that's it. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be like the last portion of the video. I'm 19 years old. My name's Kahreal, and a different spelling. It's Karyalle, but I made it Kahreal and Kahreal because I want it to be unique. I'm a Libra. I was born September 28, 2005. That's crazy. 2005 and being an adult. That's tea. But I'm very fortunate to achieve that milestone in this life. Okay? What else? I'm a pharmacy student. I'm a second year pharmacy student. Did I address that in the video? I kind of forgot with all the yapping. I think that's it. Let's get to know each other more along the journey. And I want to get to know you guys too. I want to know who you are. Not really who you are, but you get what I mean. We're not trying to talk to strangers here online, but just experiences that we can share down below in the comments. And like the community that I kind of wanted to see, like somewhere along those lines. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video because I've done a lot of yapping for today. I'm probably socially drained. Thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna end this now because my phone's probably gonna blow up. See you next episode.